Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is Gavin, the Great American Broadcast Network. We're Gabnet, and we've got you covered live 5 nights a week. First Tuesday through Friday at 9:30 Eastern, it's The Exchange.
Let's capture, who are all these people who are watching these cooking shows? They're stoners, right? So I'm wondering, is this a program that Netflix has absorbed? I don't know, what is the purpose of Netflix making a 14-minute show? Now, aside from those 2 interesting facts about this show, the show is fucking terrible. Do not watch this show. It fucking sucks.
Tuesday through Friday at 10 Eastern, join Alex Bennett on the Ramble.
Say goodbye to the unions.
Renee, what was the decision? And then we'll go to Patrick.
It doesn't matter. Just say goodbye to the unions.
No. But I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you what was in the decision yesterday.
I'm going to look it up.
Okay, let him look it up.
Yeah, he'll go look it up at GlenBeck.com.
Tuesday through Friday at midnight, The Intersection.
Most high school boys, what have we got on our mind? Sex and girls and girls and sex and sex and sex.
And booze and drugs.
Yeah, the Asian guys I knew in high school, I don't know, I'm sure they thought that way, but perhaps they were more disciplined about it. Although there was this Japanese girl in high school that your old friend, the Black Avenger, had the hots for. Oh, my God. Be still my sake wanting to drink self.
If you like sports, we've got that too, with The Arena, Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
Well, and even if you did that, it doesn't give you the right to grab your Uber driver's private. I mean, and like, what part of that to him sounded like a good idea?
Oh, she played a special song.
Finally, you can get hot and bothered on Connections at 10 p.m. Eastern Monday, and by delay Tuesday through Friday at 1 a.m. Eastern.
Now, of course, you got your Bundy barbecue. We did that here. It's gonna be cool. So we have a few of them out of the state of Florida, right? We got Danny Rawlings.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so we can look at that. That'll be fun. So I don't want to shoot the whole lot right there. No.
I'm sure Dahmer will come up somewhere.
Dahmer! Oh, yeah. He was fun. A looker, too.
Catch up on all the shows with our Weekend Flashback. All shows have the Citizen Panel, an exclusive concept of Gabnet. It's new. It's daring. It's talk like you've never heard it before. You love Gabnet. You love the hosts and the Citizen Panels. In fact, you wish you could take them wherever you go. On your computer, log on to Gabnet.net, where our stream is available around the clock. On your TV, Gabnet is available on Roku with the same around-the-clock stream, plus all the latest episodes of Gabnet programs, old favorites, videos, and tons of celebrity interviews. When you're mobile, we're on your iPhone or iPad with podcasts accessible via iTunes or Stitcher, and that same around-the-clock stream on TuneIn. If you don't want Gabnet wherever you go, well, the hell with you. Go ahead, listen to your old-fashioned talk shows that do things in the same old predictable way. Meanwhile, the rest of us will be having fun listening to talk like you've never heard it before on Gabnet. Reasons why you tune into Gabnet. Here's reason number 9. Great celebrity guests.
So how many years is this now with Teller?
43, and that's 43 continuous. You can try to say Keith Richards and Mick Jagger go longer, but they take 3, 4, 5 years off. Even when they're together, they take the time off. Continuous, no more than 2 weeks working apart, I think.
Wow.
Like being waterboarded for 43 years.
Gabnet. Reasons to listen every day. Log on to Gabnet.net for more. Gabnet. It's talk like you've never heard it before. Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before. This is Gabnet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Hey! Hey, it's Alex Bennett. It is the Ramble. We go from now until midnight Eastern Time. And as we do every now and then, we like to check in with an old friend of ours.
Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Larry Bubbles Brown. Why? Because that's the way it is, I guess. Who named you again? Was that Paula Poundstone?
Paula Poundstone, yeah.
Yeah, I gave you the bubbles because you were
right.
Because
now it's been changed to El FOMO.
El FOMO. Did I come
keeping
up with
our demographic changes? El FOMO.
Yeah, we ought to put
which you gave me, and I told you I said that on stage when I got a huge laugh.
What I'm thinking is maybe we should put up a big sign at the border that says El FOMO welcomes you. But no, he's and then he's known as his Larry Bubbles Brown, and he was named by Bubbles by Paula Poundstone. And did it stick immediately?
It did, yeah, right away, and I never was able to shake it. It was like my first year of comedy, actually. And,
no, but did you start calling yourself Bubbles at that point?
No, everyone else did. Then they started advertising me that the Holy City Zoo calendar, and that was it.
So all of a sudden you were Larry Bubbles Brown.
Bubbles Brown, yeah.
And then for the rest of your life, you will be asked the question, why is your name Bubbles? What's the Bubbles?
I know.
It's like people who go to a movie and say that couldn't happen. You know, they don't want any mystery in their lives. Why are you called Bubbles?
That's so true.
Well, because of my effervescent personality, you fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you wouldn't.
Then
say
I used
that.
to go on the road, and people. I remember a couple times I got picked up at the airport, and for some reason they thought I was black. Were you named Bubbles? We thought you'd be really.
Well, there's something black about you. I can't say what exactly, because you're the whitest person I know. But you know,
very white. Yes.
Yeah, but let me see. I'm trying to think. Wasn't there a black performer named Bubbles? Something Bubbles. Oh God, he was a dancer. His name was something Bubbles. His last name was Bubbles.
Yeah, there was. Not Johnny Bubbles or...
Yeah.
I know, he used to be on Carson.
Really? Wait a minute.
Yeah, he was a very old-time performer. His last name was Bubbles, you're right.
Well, you know where we can find this out. I can simply go
You can wiki that.
Dancer Bubbles. Let's see if anything comes up. Here we go. John W. Bubbles. Tap dancer. And he was a vaudeville performer. He died in 1986. He was born in 1902. And he was in Porgy and Bess. He played Sport and Life in Porgy and Bess on Broadway in the original production.
Okay.
And his name was, let's see here, what was it? Buck and Bubbles was the team. Buck and Bubbles. I remember Buck and Bubbles, yeah. Okay, so your name isn't so fucking original.
No, I guess not. And apparently there's a band out now called Bubbles Brown.
Oh, really?
So I got the email last year. It said, "Oh, great, you're coming to Chicago." And I don't have anything in the books in Chicago. It was a band.
It was a band called Bubbles Brown.
Bubbles Brown.
Wow. Well,
capitalizing off my immense fame, apparently.
Well, maybe I should call myself Alex Buck when we do these interviews, and we can be Buck and Bubbles.
Bring him back.
bring back Buck and Bubbles. But no, he was on Broadway playing Sport and Life in the original version of Porgy and Bess. So there. You ain't so original, mister.
I guess not, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, you come up at dinner occasionally. last night I was having dinner with San Francisco guy that we all know as Buddy Love.
An icon.
His real name is Bobby Vickers, and that's the name they arrest him by. And
court name.
Yeah, and you of course came up at dinner. He said, "So how's Larry Brown?" Because I mentioned I was interviewing you today, and I said, "He's the same old Larry." And they said, "Oh, he still has a flip phone, huh?" Really? I mean, yeah, no. But I brought up the flip phone part.
Okay.
That certainly became a big deal. The flip phone. It seems every time we talk to you, this comes up, mainly because you were an anachronism.
Yes, and the other night in the car, I spilled a bunch of Diet Coke in the flip phone, and I thought it killed it, but I revived it with a hairdryer.
Yeah, where can you get another flip phone?
Well, they have them.
They do? No. Really?
Yeah, even Sprint has them in their store, yeah.
Would you get another flip phone if this one got all?
I'm thinking about Curtis DeMartini. He told me there's a smartphone called the Jitterbug.
I know. We mentioned this last time. Old people get it. It's got a button on the bottom that says 5 on it, and when you hit the button, it calls
a gigantic icon that says email.
It calls 911.
Yeah, I should come into the 21st century, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean it's amazing that you, but I mean, as I say, I have a phone here you can have, but first you've got to look into getting service, and you won't go to that extent.
Oh, yeah, I've got 4 or 5 people offering to give me their old Apple phones, and
God. Well, then what am I doing?
Feel bad for me.
Well, ask them what version it is. And see which one has the newest version of the phone. Like if they want to give you an iPhone, if they want to give you an iPhone 2, forget it. I think it's a 6. I've got a 6S here, which is the largest size 6. So that if you need a Jitterbug because your eyesight is going, this is just perfect for you.
Jitterbug. Gotta love the name.
No, I saw the Jitterbug advertised today on television. The Jitterbug, in case people aren't familiar, is a phone for old people. Is that what we would call it? And that makes old people feel they're getting into the 21st century, which they're clearly not. Okay. And it's a cheap phone, isn't it? It's pretty cheap.
Yeah, very cheap. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Unlike the $1,000 or $1,100 iPhones, this thing is like, I don't know, $39.95 or something, and it's yours. Then you get some service with it. But what you should be able to see, what would be wonderful to do is if you got an iPhone, you could use Skype, and we could see you in these interviews.
Well, that would probably be a negative. So.
Well, it would be better than this, which I'm just showing a picture of you with animation rotating behind you.
Well, we love audio. It's more like radio.
Well, I'm beginning to wonder whether even having podcasts is worth the effort. Because when I started doing podcasts, how many there were in the whole world?
None.
One. Mine.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. In fact, I'm in the process of trying to convince this guy at a company called a magazine called Podcast Business, who wrote that the podcast is celebrating its 15th year, and I wrote him and I said, wrong. I was doing it 21 years ago, and I explained how we did it because if I was just doing a radio program and putting it online, I might not have been the first guy to do that. I don't know, but I was the first guy to come up with a program that a friend of mine wrote in which you installed it on your computer, and every day it would go to my site and download the newest program to your computer. So when you came home, there it was. Well, that's what iTunes became, you know. And this guy's going, yeah, but it didn't have the RSS system and blah, blah, blah. I said, that doesn't matter. I was there before anybody, you know.
Yeah, you should have patented that. You'd be a zillionaire.
Yeah, so I didn't come up with the delivery system of RSS, which nobody knows what I'm talking about when I say RSS, but I do. And it's a file that just tells all these other files what the programs are. But it was a delivery system right to your computer, right? And this guy's trying to go, well, you know, well, yeah, I guess you were there before anybody else, but it wasn't exactly what podcast... Bullshit! It was exactly what podcasts were. You know, so...
You're a pioneer.
Oh, yeah, I don't dare tell him that the next thing I did was start the first internet television show. You know, so I'm not even going to go into that one. You go, well...
No, that was... I can't believe that's over 20 years now. Jesus.
You were on those shows.
Yeah, and that was...
And we would do them every day and, you know, go out live to about 3 people because nobody had the ability to pick it up.
Well, I think everyone was on dial-up then. So.
Everyone was on dial-up. We did send it out in a high, not high definition, but a higher definition version that was 300 kilobytes per second, as opposed to what were we sending out, 25 or whatever, which just gave you a small little picture. But, you know, come on. We were doing it. We were doing it 12 hours a day.
I remember that. And if you're a friend, or your friend was Paul, right?
Yeah.
If he hadn't died, where do you think that would have ended up?
Well, that was the beginning of it was right at the time that the internet started, you know, the tech stocks started falling apart. So who knows what would have happened? You know, the company might have gone out of business anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but we don't know because he died before that happened. And the reason why the company, basically most of it went out of business was because Paul died and it didn't have its inspiration and its leader to move it forward. So who knows? But we were there before anybody else on most stuff. Yeah.
You could have been running a network.
Well, in 1999, which still precedes what this guy calls the beginning of the podcast, which he places at about 203, we were doing, even before we did the video version of it, we were doing audio going out, and people could listen to it. So we were doing about 3 shows. So we were doing podcasts like crazy before anybody else was. And, you know, I guess I'd like a little credit, you know.
Yeah, I certainly deserve the credit.
You know, I'd like a little credit for the innovation. And for both innovations, then it matriculated to the TV version of the same thing. And I don't know, it's, you know, life sucks. I'll drop dead and I'll be a has-been. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the holiday cheer.
I mean, I don't even. The porn industry should give me a fucking award. You know, because I came up with the first porn presentation that was entirely done on videotape. So I brought into being the video aspect of porn. Not that there hadn't already been porn videotapes for the home, but they were all on film. I actually produced one that was done on video, for video.
Which saved them a fortune.
Changed the whole industry. Do I get invited to the AVN Awards and given a Lifetime Achievement Award? No. Well, blow me. Well, actually, at that convention, they probably would.
There was something I wanted to see here a couple of years ago. There was one of these little art theaters here had porn from the dawn of film, which I didn't know they did porn in 1915, but I guess they must have.
But
that would have been interesting to see.
Well, I always had a theory that the first thing that people do when they get a camcorder or anything that will record video, the first thing they do is videotape their cat. Okay? And the second thing they do is videotape themselves fucking.
Probably right.
and I think that's probably the way the film industry went. It started out with people showing pictures of trains coming at you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then porn. You know?
Thomas Edison was grinding away.
Well, yeah, grinding away is true. Yeah. No. Actually, see, I am kind of correct when I say that, and here's how I'm correct. Okay. The first films that they did were these loops that went in these kinograph. I mean, they were called kinograph machines that you ran the handle around and around and around, and the film, not the film, but it was a form of film, went through, and you could see things happening in there. And one of the first ones, the most popular one back in the day, the thing that started the whole kinograph what's the word I'm looking for? Fad, was a thing called The Kiss. And it was a guy with a big mustache and a woman, a rather portly woman, kissing.
Mm.
Boy, I bet they got a real boner off of that one. But, sex was like one of the first things ever shown. I mean, that's a form of sex. First things shown in film. And if, it was porn that put home video on the map. There was a point early on where something like 60% of all video being sold on videotape for home consumption was porn.
Well, that's probably, you might be right, because the movie studio, remember the movie studios were so territorial about their stuff, they didn't realize they could make money by renting their old films out.
Oh, they didn't want...
They balked at that for a while.
They balked at it because they were worried that was a way that people could steal it.
Yeah.
And they were right, I mean, in that respect. But the fact was, it could also be a large source of income for you, because not everybody's going to steal it. All right? But, video changed the whole nature of film, because you're right. The film companies in the old days, if you owned a copy of, say, Gone with the Wind, you were doing something highly illegal.
Yeah.
And if you had that film in your possession, nothing proved more that you were doing something criminal than the fact that you had a film in your possession. But the thing was that video made it so much easier to steal stuff. All you had to do was copy the video. And in those days, it went down what they called one generation or two. And let's say you recorded it, and then you let somebody else record it from you, and then the picture is third generation. By the time you get to the fourth or fifth generation, you're watching a blur on the screen.
Right.
Because every time you did it, the picture was diminished. Well, today we have digital. I can make 200 digital copies of the same digital file, and it's no different. It looks just as good as the original file. So, theft today is, come on, it's rampant. But what you have to do is learn of ways in which you make the thing work better. You live up, catch up to the times, and you find new ways to of distributing or of preventing piracy that you hadn't in the past. But they haven't really come up with it. So, I mean, everything is stealable today. I can lead you to websites where you can download a movie that's playing in the movie theaters right now. And I think maybe it's something that they shouldn't try to fight on a legal level. They should try and fight it on a technological level. That there have got to be ways to prevent people from making copies of films. But so far, they haven't. You know, I would go out. What I do is I go out and get all the guys who are stealing the films now. If I were a movie company, I would hire them. And I would hire them to figure out a way to make it so you can't steal the films. And they'd probably come up with a pretty good way. Because
I wonder. I mean, they tried that with well, they first started stealing music, and they couldn't stop that.
Right. You know, and you know, you can't, and it is difficult to steal. You know, it is easy to steal music. But it wasn't in the days when you had discs. How do you make another disc? You know, that's the big argument. So what the hell? You know, it's just who knows?
Yeah, I wonder how much money they're losing. It must be incredible.
I don't know. You know, I really don't know that they're losing that much. I mean, if people want the latest Lady Gaga, I think they would buy it from iTunes. You know, because ownership means that you have yourself a clean copy of it. You know, you don't know what other garbage might be in there. It's like buying street heroin. You know? You don't know what's in it. I mean, there may be.
It's always a surprise.
There may be bugs, there may be worms, there may be all kinds of things that are out to steal your identity. Which I'll not let you do your joke.
And now his life sucks.
Yeah, somebody stole. I think your line was somebody. It was you did it on Letterman. Somebody stole my identity.
Stole my identity. Now his life sucks.
You know, I think that what we haven't been able to cope with, what we're never able to cope with, is technology, and that there are new rules when a new technology comes out. Give you a good example is porn. We always go back to porn. Isn't that where it all started? In the old days, if you had porn and they arrested you and you had these films, and they would go into court and they would show the judge the films, say, look here they are, and you could hold them up to the light and you could see some of the images on there, and you were guilty of something. Well, all of a sudden, here comes videotape. All right? Now, you can't, if you have a porno videotape, you can't hold it up to the light and see the image. So there's no image on the tape. It's a latent image that is only seen once it is run through an applicable device which decodes the information on there and turns it into porn. So now, if you're arresting somebody with tapes, what are you arresting? You're basically arresting latent images.
Uh-huh.
You know? And that being the case, the latent images are how do you bust a latent image? And that's why all of a sudden porn started being seen a lot, is because it was very difficult to prosecute. You can't, you go into a judge, you say, look, I got a tape here. I'm sorry, show me the picture. Well, we have to put it in a machine. Well, no, that doesn't count. Years ago, when they used to ship porn across state lines, you know how they did it? Undeveloped.
Oh, really? That's
yeah.
Great.
You could send away to companies that would send you porn, and it would be you'd have to develop it at home, the film at home.
Wow.
So anyway, that that was a perfect example of how technology changes the method in which we do things and how they had to learn to cope. And I don't think they've really busted many people for selling porn videotapes over the years, because there's really, the old laws just don't take that into account. So anyway, hey, listen, Bubs, guess what? We've run out of time. Yeah. You know, so let me say goodbye to you at this point, and hopefully we will do this again next week. Correct?
If we're both alive, we will do it again.
If we're both alive, ladies and gentlemen, the wonderfulness that is Larry Bubbles Brown. Bye, Larry.
Bye-bye.
Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before. This is Gavin, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Bubbles. We appreciate the use of your talent here on our program. Let me get rid of the music stuff. Let me get up the Skype stuff, and let's see if anybody decides they want to call as I go online with Skype now. Yes, let me get rid of the callers from the last show here. Oops. There we go. There we go. I don't... Just stop it. Stop singing to me. I don't like that. All right. So anyway, if you don't know how to get a hold of us, you can use Skype. And if you don't know how to use Skype, or you don't know how to get a hold of us, go over to gabnet.net, and over there on the left-hand side, right-hand side of the page, rather, there's a whole tutorial. It's just a whole tutorial on how to do it. And there's somebody calling right now. And right off the bat, it's our old friend Brian Ludwig. Hello there, Brian.
Hello.
How are you this evening?
I'm all right.
Yeah. Where is that? Is that your actual room, or is that like a basement you're in?
This is a basement.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah. And you're out of sync, and you will be out of sync till somebody else calls, and then it all goes into sync.
Oh.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So how are you? You're calling. You're one of the first off the bat. I don't know how that happened.
But I'm doing all right. I just, yeah, usually I don't call it right on the dot, 10:30 or whatever.
Yeah. Well, here you are, Mr. Excitement.
Yeah, I just woke up from it.
Oh, I see. Okay, well, we'll let you wake up while we say hello to Phil. Good evening, Phil.
Hey.
Hello there. How are you?
Which one are you talking to?
I'm talking to you, Phil.
Oh, well, I'm okay, although, man, my back hurts. And I don't even know if I'm going to make it through the show.
Wait a minute, your back hurts? What from?
I think it's my car seat. You know, and it's just exacerbating the pain. Just gets every time I sit in it, it's worse.
Do you have any ibuprofen at home?
Yeah, probably.
Take a couple ibuprofen. That'll take care of the back. Take it for you.
Yeah, even though I'm taking aspirin for and blood thinners and all of that stuff, you can take that.
Yeah, ibuprofen.
Blow out your liver.
Ibuprofen is blow out your liver. Not if you do a little bit of it. I find it's the best thing for backaches and things like that, and it doesn't thin out your blood. That's not what it does.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm on blood thinners. But,
take an ibuprofen, and if you drop dead, blame it on me.
I just can't seem to rationalize buying another car. I love the car I have. It's just that the seat is not comfortable.
Well, have you gone maybe to the car place or something and said, my seat is like killing me? What can we do about it?
Yeah, there's an upholsterer down the street, they said. You know, nobody's giving me satisfaction.
Wait a minute. How long ago did you buy the car?
2011.
That's probably the reason why.
Why is it that your back is hurting now and wasn't like 3 years ago?
There's a metal frame in the driver's seat, and it seems as though the longer you own the car, the more it breaks down the seat.
Yeah.
So
what we're saying here is it's a matter of an older car that's causing the problem.
Yeah, but they don't make this model anymore, and I really like it. And it's like brand new, so I really don't want to get rid of it. Except the seat.
Yeah. Hi, Jeff. Get more of your face in the picture.
Yeah. Hello there.
There you go. That's it.
How's that?
Yeah.
Like I said the other day, I've been shopping, looking around at other cars just to see if there's anything I like. And so far, I think the Escalade is stupid. You know, I'm not paying $95,000 for a car.
And you're not you're not a pimp.
Yeah, yeah. I even looked at the other models like the Suburban and those, and now I'm going to look at a Volvo.
Volvo's supposed to be very good.
Yeah. You know, I think the seats are really comfortable too, which could help.
Yeah, I'd buy a car, but there's nothing in it for me. You know?
There's no place for you to park it.
Well, I mean, yeah, well, I can park it in a garage, but that garage is going to cost me $800 a month.
Yeah, well, if you lived back out here, you'd need a car. You know, in New York,
well, no,
you don't need one.
It's different because when you get an apartment or something in California, there's parking. There's a garage, a little place to put your car. You know, but here, forget it. You've got to. Oh God, I'm going to sneeze.
God bless you.
Yeah. Don't blow your brains out.
I've been sneezing a lot lately. I think there's dust in this house or something. Anyway, the thing is that you know that first you have to buy the car. That costs money. Okay, all right, but you know they buy it on payments. What? It doesn't matter. That's fine. Okay, so let's say the payments are going to cost you $500 a month. Let's just say that for grins.
It always does
for grins. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you got to pay for the insurance, and in New York City, insurance for a car is more than it is, say, out where you live.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know how much the insurance would be, but I would imagine a couple $100 a month, maybe $300 a month.
You know, it never goes down, but it's running me about $120 a month.
$120 a month. Oh, okay. So let's say it just cost me $200 because it's New York City. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're up to what? $700 a month.
Right.
Then a garage. That's another. Probably, I would say if I found a place somewhere.
Probably $500.
$500 at the least. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're up to what? We're up.
7,512.
Huh?
$1,200 a month. That's before you put any gas in it.
Yeah, yeah.
And before you pay a toll.
Yeah, and the question is, how much am I going to use it?
Yeah.
You know,
well,
like when I live in California, hell, I would take my car just to go up 5 blocks to the drugstore rather than walk. Right? That's the way everybody in California, they live in their car. They don't walk.
Even if you have to park 6 blocks away from the drugstore to find a parking
you're going to drive to the drugstore.
Exactly. Even more.
So, I mean, in California, I use my car all the time. You know, I never went out the front door. I always went down the back stairwell to get to the garage, right?
Yeah.
Get in the car and go a block to get somewhere.
One of the biggest American rackets in existence.
What?
Yeah, automobile industry. As it exists.
Well, I don't know that it's a racket.
Well, you know, 1940s, 1930s, you know, you could take the trolley every damn where, even in the city of Pittsburgh.
Well,
you could.
But you can, like in New York City. One of the reasons you don't own a car in New York City, and I'm sure Jeff will agree with me on this, is we've got such a great transit system that to take your car somewhere is a pain in the ass. Because
I wish more cities were like your city.
If you leave your garage, you're going to drive downtown, you've got to find either a parking space, which are hardly available in New York, or put it in another garage at $10 an hour.
I have a New York parking story. A friend of mine I went to visit. So he and his friend decided that they were going to take us to this restaurant, which I don't think is around anymore. It was called the DDL Food Show, Dino De Laurentiis Food Show. So the guy had to make an appointment 24 hours in advance to get his car out of the garage. So he makes the appointment, gets the car out of the garage. We're in the car. He gets to the place. It's somewhere in Midtown Manhattan. Can't find a parking space. So the guy drives around while everyone else eats and then picks us back up and takes us back to his garage. So, he never got to go into the restaurant.
Wow. Well,
because he couldn't find parking.
Yeah. So, I mean, the sum total of it is that if I wouldn't drive downtown to someplace, I'd take the subway because I can go on the subway faster than by taking a cab or an Uber or something like that or anything else. And the buses are terrific too. So, you just kind of go, why do I need a car? I don't need one. And if I need one, I've got a credit card. I go over to Hertz, I rent one for the day, and I go wherever I'm going to go.
Sure. Well, even my dad's company back in the 60s and early 70s, the carpet installers never brought the carpet to the job because you couldn't find parking for a big truck. So my father had these trucks and drivers, and they would deliver the stuff at 3 o'clock in the morning to the commercial sites so that the goods were there and people could just use a regular car to get their tools to the job site.
Yeah.
It was so difficult to park. And that was in the early 70s.
Well, in New York City years ago when I did have a car in New York, because I came to New York and had a car here, I would use it to drive around town at night. And I found that if you went to any particular area and wanted to find a parking space, all you had to do was drive around the block about 3 times. And eventually somebody would move out of a space and you could park. It was that easy.
Right.
I don't think it's that easy anymore.
No. Well, the other parts of looking for a car is social conscience. I really want these hydrogen cell vehicles. I just like the idea.
They're not fully developed yet.
No, they're not. They're not. There's a place in San Ramon about 20 miles from me that has the hydrogen cells, but you only get about 300 miles on a tank. And if I'm not back in San Ramon at the time I need it, I'm going to be in trouble.
I mean, if you don't do that much driving, certainly an electric car is a good idea. But an electric car is only good if you live in the suburbs and your wife needs something to go to the grocery store with. You know?
Well, then there's the Prius. But, these cars are ugly, especially the hydrogen cell one, the Mirai. It makes a Prius look good. Then there's another car out called a Cadillac something or other. You can plug it in, but it also has a generator. So if your charge only lasts like 300 miles, the generator kicks in and charges the car on the go. It's not a motor. It's just a generator.
Well, the great fear I have about electric cars is that I'm always at I'm always at the mercy of looking at a fuel gauge too. But when you're looking at an electric gauge, if that car dies on you,
you're SOL.
Somebody's got to shove you to the closest place to plug it in. And where's that? And also they don't. It's not like they charge in 10 minutes. Right? It's like they take several hours to get to a full charge. So, I mean, I don't know that all electric cars are the answer. I think the hybrid is the answer. It's the closest answer. Or a car in which you basically use the electric, but if it goes out, you've got enough gas to get you somewhere.
How easily this conversation could bleed on over into politics. How easily this conversation could bleed on over into politics. As though a Green New Deal has to be implemented in order to have it so that you can drive an electric vehicle and not have to worry about being stranded in the middle of a butt-fuck alley in some Kansas
but
City
even
town.
look,
it's not just politics.
Even if the government mandated that every gas station also had to have electric outlets for you to be able to plug into, the fact of the matter is, you better find a nice diner nearby who's willing to have you sit there for about 3 hours while the fucking thing charges. That's the problem.
Yeah, if you go to Whole Foods, they've got these charging stations. I don't know if they charge for them. I know if you have a Tesla, there are special charging stations you can go to that I think are free.
Yeah.
To charge them up.
You're right, they are.
But
how long are you going to sit there?
I heard all of these horror stories about Teslas. If you need a fender, you might be waiting 6 or 8 months because
it's all proprietary.
It's all the parts. You can't get them.
Well, it's not one of your huge automobile companies. Okay. Yeah. You're right. But I mean, I just don't know that all electric automobiles are the answer. But I don't think that gas emitting cars are the answer either. I mean, there must be some other power they can come up with that's far more reliable and extensive. I want to know that I've got a car where if I have to go, I mean, like I know, I have a car. I'll have a car. Maybe I'll only get 300 miles to a tank of gas. Let's just say that's what I do. The same as I would get with plugging in the electricity. The only difference is I stick a nozzle in the tank, and in about 2 minutes, I've filled the tank. Where with electric, I've got to sit there for 3 hours, 4 hours overnight or whatever in order to charge the damn
And you
thing.
can fill the tank just about anywhere you go in the country.
That's right. But
there was an article I read online that said that thorium could be used. An element called thorium could be used as a fuel source.
Isn't that what they give people that are overactive and they need to settle them? No, that's Ritalin.
That almost sounds like an antidepressant.
Yes, Jeff?
My wife has a Prius, and she's pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
And I drove it.
I've been in some of them, and they're pretty luxurious inside.
You were in a car once, I think, Alex.
My buddy loaned me his Prius once. This is before I had a dog. And he asked me, he was going out of the country, and he said, Phil, he says, I need you to take care of my dog. So, and he knew I didn't like putting the dog in my car because it shedded. So he gave me the Prius, and he gave me the dog. And a week later, I drove everywhere I normally drive. And a week later, I think I put $10 worth of gas in the thing. Whereas in my car at the time, I had an Audi TT. I must have put maybe $60 worth of gas in the same time period, the same kind of driving. So it was not bad.
My son has the other car, which is a Toyota, which is kind of a full sedan.
Yeah. Oh, the Camry type thing?
At the same time.
Yeah.
It's a Camry.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, but I rented a hybrid once, and I found that it was only good for about 29 miles for a gallon. So, I mean, I didn't think that it was that economical.
Well, when you're getting 18, I think with the Prius, they get around 40 or 50, depending on how you drive them.
Right.
With my Toyota FJ Cruiser, I get 18, if I'm lucky.
And that's just, yours is not a hybrid, it's just a regular.
No, it's just a regular V6.
Gas guzzler.
Yeah. So on a hybrid car that size, Phil, you would get, I don't know, 30 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost a 2-for-1.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Yeah. And it's just nice. Not, I don't want to pollute. I
want to. I love the idea of polluting.
Well, I've been polluting for so long that it's time to stop.
I mean, at my age, any way I can be a drag on this society, it's okay by me.
Just ask them for an extra plastic straw whenever you go to the store. Give me 2 straws.
I want 2 plastic straws, exactly.
Right. I
saw this woman on television. They were doing a thing about straws, and this was on I think CBS Sunday Morning, about they're trying to find alternatives to straws and things like that.
Oh, yeah, I started listening to that. Yeah. They were talking paper and the straws collapsed.
And this woman says, well, I love my straw. And she pulls out this thing, and it's a metal straw.
Is it for Coke?
Yeah, I get for that too.
Probably got bacteria and shit in it.
But yeah, I'm thinking to myself, that is maybe the most unhygienic thing you could have, because how much bacteria and stuff is going to get into that straw, because you're not washing it out every time you use it,
Yeah.
So
looks like you got a guest on his way in.
Oh yeah. Come on, move over here. So you're gonna have to talk into this mic.
so they can see you. Let me just show everybody my guest first, and then we'll get back to our discussion. But here is this is Buddy Love, ladies and gentlemen, who has been staying with us. Hello, Buddy. How are you?
Superb. Good to be with you.
Get closer into the mic.
It's so great to be with all of you. I know this guy.
Yeah, that's Phil.
That's Phil. Hi, Phil. You're out
Hey,
in,
how you doing?
East Bay.
Correct. Put on those
That's
earphones
right.
there. Those
That's Buddy Love of the Buddy Love Orchestra. Wow.
Buddy Love Orchestra, Buddy Love Combo, Buddy Love. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You've got to. He's now Robot Man here. But there you go.
There we go.
Okay. Can you hear that? Can you hear good?
I can hear beautifully.
Yes, it's beautiful.
You're not getting slapped back from me. I was too lazy to put these things in and decided to go on the speaker.
Yeah. So anyway, back to what we were talking about. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, we were talking about hybrid cars. You don't have a hybrid car, do you?
No,
buddy.
No, I have a beautifully appointed Chrysler Town and Country minivan.
Yeah,
where you'll get more mileage with a different car.
Okay, good. How many miles to the gallon do you get?
Around the city.
How many gallons to a mile do you get?
Oh, brother. I get, let's talk MPG. I get about, in the city, 13 to 14 on the highway, up to 22.
Oh, boy.
Does it have Cordova leather?
Rich Corinthian leather. No.
And that's why.
Corinthian, yeah.
I might add that's why I don't have a car, is exactly that reason.
Because it doesn't have rich Corinthian leather?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
So we've been talking about, hybrids versus, whatever other grids there are.
Yeah, I'm car shopping. So
you've been out car shopping?
Yeah. I'm starting the ordeal.
My lovely bride drives a Ford Fusion hybrid, which she loves. I heard a laugh. A Ford Fusion. It's a nice car.
Did you used to have a Corvette?
I had a 1964 white Corvette coupe, fully loaded. Every option possible. Air conditioning, power steering, power brakes, power windows, tinted glass, leather interior. Did I say automatic transmission?
Yeah.
And
was that the fastback?
It was the fastback. It was the, but it did not have the split window.
Right, that was 63.
Yeah, and that car was a concours winning automobile. I did a full frame off restoration. I took you for a ride in that car.
So what happened to it?
I sold it. Oh, I got divorced. I sold it.
Yeah, you got divorced. I sold it.
You know my line about being married for the first time? I lasted 16 years. With the wind chill, it felt like 25.
Yeah.
Very cute.
So that's the second time he's done that joke in front of me in the last day.
It's nothing unusual. How many times do you do the same joke?
Well, I do them many over my career.
Well, even over the last 5 years.
Yeah. Well, you can reuse a joke because the same people that are listening to me today may not have heard me when I told that joke before, and just because you heard me tell it doesn't mean you're not going to find it just as funny and as wonderful as the first time I told it.
That's in the radio days when your audience turned over every 15 minutes.
Those were in the old days when my audience just turned over.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway. So.
Have you told them the Pencholette joke?
Oh, let's not get that. Takes forever to tell.
Yeah, but what else do you got? I mean,
you got an hour and a half. Come on.
We have important stuff to talk about.
No. Let's not.
Okay.
Because
it's your show.
It's one of those jokes that if you're going to tell it right,
you have to really elaborate.
You have to.
Okay. I got the suggestion. Call Penn Jillette, get him on the phone, and have him tell the joke.
He's probably in the middle of his second show.
He's probably in the middle of his second show right now.
Well, hey, it's always better the second time.
Yeah. But this involves a set of conjoined twins and a trombone. Okay, that's all I need to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Engelbert Humperdinck. Don't forget
here's
that.
what I think. I think that people should tell each other every joke they know. And then anytime they want to retell the joke, don't retell it, just say the punchline.
Right.
Like, for instance, you'll laugh at this punchline. And the same goes for your cat, too.
And the horse you rode in on.
No. That's the punchline. You know the joke?
He smiled.
You know the joke?
I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember what the rest of the joke was.
Yeah, the joke
all I remember is the punchline.
That's the joke.
It's good. That's all you need.
That's
to
the
remember.
joke.
Yeah.
And to the joke,
he's texting.
Huh?
We're losing him.
Oh, Brian has business.
Business. What are you doing, Brian?
By the way, we could use some more callers tonight. I know this is going to be a slow week. We're only doing 2 nights this week.
Yeah.
And we're taking Thursday and Friday off, so I can.
It's Thanksgiving.
Huh?
It's Thanksgiving.
Yeah. However, I'm not going to have Thanksgiving off really because I'm going to be spending about an hour and a half here with Jack Garfine trying to get the second part of his story, or at least part of the second part of his story, because there's so much to cover about his time working on Broadway and as a director and at the Actors Studio and Hollywood and all that. So,
well, I watched that series that you recommended on Netflix with Michael Douglas and Alan Arkin.
Yeah,
was that enjoyable? It was. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
It's called the
Kaminsky method.
Kaminsky method, right?
Yeah. Right.
And somebody else wrote me and said that they saw it on my recommendation and raved about it.
It's really good.
Well, I wrote you.
It's really good.
Oh, did you watch it?
We watched one episode here 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop.
Fabulous.
I binged it.
Yeah.
I binged it.
Yeah. Well, of course, it's very easy to binge because what I said to Marjorie was each episode is anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes long. And if you watch all 8 episodes, it takes about an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes. And it's actually shorter than watching an Avengers film.
It was good. I wonder, how do you come up with this stuff? Where do you find these things? I didn't know it existed.
I have no life.
Well, here's the other thing. The writing is superb.
Chuck Lorre.
Oh, absolutely.
It's unbelievably
Chuck Lorre,
well
who
written.
does The Big Bang Theory and Mom. And
it's so well written. And the dialogue is, so it rolls off their tongues. These guys are great actors, number one.
Yeah.
And they were great together.
Yeah.
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 There's an episode where Arkin does a eulogy to his wife, and it is one of the best pieces of acting I've seen in years. It is just so subtle in its complexity.
Now,
there was also something where he was complaining, going through something in Landon's in the class, and the students thought that it was real, and they applauded him. Do you remember that? It was something about his wife dying, and he was very upset, and they thought it was
they thought it was acting. Yeah.
Now, who's the gal interest? Michael Douglas, the blonde.
I forget her name now. Susan Sullivan is her name.
Yeah.
It's the actress. And Margaret's in it, if you notice.
Yes, she's the hot to trot widow.
Yeah.
Right.
But what I liked about it is that it didn't make fun of old people. It made fun of getting old.
Yeah.
And that's what was so good about it. I mean, it didn't make them into doddering people, but people who were just suffering the pangs of aging.
Right. Well, it gave prostate sufferers a place to be.
And I'll tell you, this is what is so great about Netflix. The networks would have never picked up a show like that because it doesn't appeal.
Creative.
Because it doesn't appeal to a young audience.
Yeah.
And and I don't think they would have done it if it wasn't on Netflix because they only have to commit themselves to 8 episodes. And it's on Netflix, which is a little higher level of television than doing it every week for 22 weeks on CBS, like Laurie has to do with all his other shows. And there'll probably be another series. They'll probably do.
I hope so. I wanted more. I was ready.
How many episodes was it?
It's only 8 episodes.
Oh, good. Okay. Cool.
So when you get home, you can watch all of them.
Yeah.
You know. But anyway, so Buddy's been staying with us, and we went and had dinner last night.
Oh, that was
Thank you very much.
Oh.
He bought me a hat. I should have brought the hat in
He
tonight.
had a, you know, they had a hat joke. That's a good one.
What?
He had a hat. You know that?
Who had a hat?
The Jewish mother calls her son. Ivan, it's been 6 years since I've seen you. Like a knife in the chest, you're killing me. Not only are you killing me, you're killing your father. We have yet to see the grandchild. Mom, he's in the garment business.
Yeah.
I'm in the garment business. I can't take time off. I'll tell you what, I'll put little Junior on the airplane. He'll go down to Florida, meet you. Hugs and kisses at the airport. It'll be great. So little Junior gets on the airplane, goes down to Miami Beach. She picks him up, takes him to the Baby Gap. You know, gets him a beautiful sunsuit with a hat. They're out in the Miami Beach. He's digging in the shovel, you know, with a puck, having a blast, and she's reading the Miami Tribune. All of a sudden, a wave comes in, picks the kid up, throws him out in the middle of the ocean. She runs to the shore. She looks up to the heavens. God, what do you do? You're killing me. Like a knife in the chest, you're killing me. You take from me my only grandchild. God, anything, bring back my grandchild. All of a sudden, wave drops the kid on the shore. She runs over, picks him up. He's not even wet. He had a hat.
That's cute.
I don't. My problem is I've never been good at remembering jokes. You know, I'll hear a joke and I'll go around and tell other people the joke for a while, but I have a hard time remembering jokes.
You have to tell them over and over.
But he told me the joke, started telling me this joke last night, and before he was, what, a minute into it?
Yeah, you knew the
I gave
punchline.
you the punchline.
Yeah.
Well, you could figure them out, but now you didn't grow
it
up in New
wasn't
York.
It wasn't a matter of figuring them out. This was a joke that Penn Jillette had told me.
Oh.
And I remembered because Penn Jillette took 3.5 hours to tell it.
Yeah. You really have to take your time. There's no shortcuts, and the longer you take, the more you elaborate on different aspects of what happened.
And Penn, when he does it, turns it into a theatrical experience.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know?
All right. Is this something that's on YouTube?
Huh?
Is his portrayal of this joke on YouTube?
No, I doubt it. I
Yeah.
doubt
Yeah.
it. I doubt it. And also the bear joke that I told you last night.
That's a good one.
The bear joke, when he tells it, goes on forever.
Yeah.
You know? And they did a film called The Aristocrats, in which they had everybody tell the same joke because everybody had a different way of telling it. And Penn's way of telling it is the longest way of telling it, you know. But that was a good.
This was a good version.
A good version of what?
Of the
bear joke? Yeah.
No, not the bear joke.
The Aristocrats.
The Aristocrats.
Oh. Well, there were several different versions of it. I mean, everybody over the years. I mean, I knew the joke myself.
Yeah.
You know, I think you probably knew it.
I knew the joke.
And so they did this movie in which they
I think
showed.
I heard that joke
many
when
different
I
versions?
was like 10 years old. It was
Right.
like
Yeah.
existing joke that just continuously other people would change it, but it would be
Right.
that.
The short of it, ladies and gentlemen, is this guy goes into an agent and he says, I've got the greatest act you've ever seen. He says, well, what is your act? He says, well, first I come out and then my brother comes out and I blow him. And then our mother comes out and my brother eats my mother. And then my father comes and shoves his dick up my brother's ass. And then my aunt comes in and she starts rubbing her tits in my face. And then we shit all over each other. And he says, my God, that's an amazing act. What do you call yourself? He says, we call ourselves the Aristocrats.
Gilbert Gottfried told that joke, laughed my ass off.
Yeah, but he's not the only one that tells the joke.
I know he's not.
In the film, it's got about 20 different versions.
Yeah.
And everybody embellished it in their own way and told it in their own way. So really, it is the telling of the joke that's important, not the punchline.
There wasn't much of a punchline.
Well, it's a great punchline.
No, it is a great punchline. It's how you set the punchline up.
Well, should I tell them the bear joke? Yeah. I'm going to do the short version of the bear joke because I can't do the long version. I can't do it justice, okay? This guy's out hunting in the woods one day with his gun. This is an anti-gun joke. And he, across the glade, he sees a bear. And so he puts the gun up to his eye, and he gets him right in his sights. It pulls the trigger, blam, the rifle goes off and misses the bear. The bear turns around, comes and walks over to the guy, mad as hell, grabs the gun, throws it on the ground, and says, "Don't ever do that again." He said, "You tried to kill me." He said, "But just to make sure you never try this again, I'm going to leave you with something to remember." And he then takes his greasy bear dick and shoves it up this guy's ass. And the guy is like, and he humps away on him and humps away on him, and finally he stops, and the guy is lying there on the ground. His ass is bleeding from this greasy bear dick. And the bear says, "Now, don't ever do that again," and he turns around and leaves. And as he's walking away, the guy thinks, "I can't miss a second time." So he grabs the gun, holds it up to his eye. First, he has a hard time standing up because he's bleeding from his ass. And he fires at the bear, and he misses him again.
Good.
And the bear turns around, walks over to him, grabs the rifle, slams it down on the ground, and says, "Okay, pal, you didn't listen to what I had to say. Drop trow." And he proceeds with his big, greasy bear dick to fuck the shit out of this guy. The guy is bleeding. There is bear spermatozoa coming out of his ass. It is just terrible. And this guy feels completely demeaned, and he's lying there, and the bear goes, "Don't ever do that again." And he turns around and he walks away. And the guy thinks to himself, "That fucking bear," he said, "he's not going to get away with this. How many times can I miss him?" And he says, he then picks up the gun, aims it at the bear who's walking away, and fires and misses him. The bear is now enraged. He turns around, he comes back, he grabs the gun, he breaks it over his knee. He then looks at the guy and said, "I told you never to do that again," and he immediately turns him around and gives him the biggest royal reaming with his greasy bear dick you've ever seen in your life. And this guy is just in horrible, horrible shape. And then he turns around the bear and walks away. The guy goes, "Fourth time's got to be the charm. I can't miss him this time." This time he grabs the rifle.
It was broken.
Excuse me, he didn't break it. He aims it at the bear. The bear, he fires, misses again. The bear turns around, walks over to the guy. Now he grabs the rifle, throws it down to the ground and breaks it. And he looks at the guy and he says, "You know something? I don't think you came here to hunt." That's the bear joke.
I don't think you came to hunt you, did you?
Yeah.
Well, if he's gay, then that's certainly
So from here
true.
on in, I don't have to tell the joke anymore. I'll just say to you guys, I just you didn't come here to hunt, did you?
I don't think you came here to hunt, did you?
Now, we were talking last night about, I said to them, what was the first joke they ever learned? Do you remember, any of you remember the first joke you ever learned?
Oh, it had to be the kindergarten, the chicken crossing the road, or
to get to the other side.
No, but don't you remember the first joke that you ever learned or that you ever told to other people? Because I do.
No.
I do.
Yeah?
Yeah. How about you, Jeff? You can't either?
I can't remember.
Come on, Brian.
Most of them were Bell Barth jokes that I learned off a record.
Oh. Oh, your parents had those bawdy records.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought they were funny.
Yeah. Brian, do you remember the first joke you ever learned?
Only vaguely from like the third grade. I can't even piece them together enough to tell you the story right. I am going to say, though, that, for a while now, when now you have your guest there. I've had an increasing urge to want to make a go of trying out for the entertainment industry. But
really? With that ebullient personality of yours? Well, it works for Larry Bubbles. It works for Larry Bubbles Brown. So why not you?
Yeah.
You know,
not very well.
Well, the first joke I ever learned, my father taught me. I told him this last night. My father taught me because he liked the idea that he could take his kid to a party and then say, "Okay, tell him the joke," and then I would tell this joke. Now, believe it or not, I didn't know till I was older what the punchline actually meant. Okay. But the joke went something like this. It's a short story. A princess is out in the forest walking when she happens upon a frog. And the frog looks up at her and says, "Hey, princess." And she goes, "A talking frog?" He says, "Yeah, what do you expect? This is a fairy tale. Of course it's a talking frog." She says, "Wow." She says, "Now look, I'll tell you something. You take me home tonight. You put me under your pillow next to you, okay? And the next morning when you wake up, I will be a handsome prince." So she says, fine. She takes the frog home. She puts him under the pillow in the bed next to her. She goes to sleep. And the next morning she wakes up, and sure enough, there is a handsome young prince next to her in bed. And do you know to this day her parents don't believe the story? Now, my father would have me tell this. I was like, 6 years old to a crowd of people. But he taught me. We went over it and over it and over it until he... So this was his idea of how you turn your kid into a prop,
It's so funny. The thing...
Get closer to the mic.
The jokes that I did were always more like bits. Lenny Bruce bits, Bert and I. Do you remember Bert and I, the
science guy?
No. Down east. Yeah. This is like, if you're from northern Maine, it's called down east.
Yeah.
Because you're down east from the wind. At any rate, do you remember that Bert and I? Two Yale guys did this thing, and they're like total hicks from Maine that are fishermen.
Yeah.
Bert and I come down to the dock about 6 o'clock in the early morning. Bert went down to start up the Bluebird. As you could tell by the coldness, the Bluebird was having trouble turning over. So we advanced the spark and turned it over in earnest. Well, you can tell we got it started. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And there's short ones like, I've been driving up this hill for over 2 hours. Hey, farmer, ain't there no end? Oh, stranger, there's no hill. You just lost your 2 hind wheels. I mean, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Totally hilarious stuff.
There was that New York disc jockey. I know he used to tell stories. You knew him, Alex.
Gene Shepherd.
Gene Shepherd. That's it. Yeah. And the only thing I can remember that he used to say is, "Life is a dreary desert."
It's funny. People always talk to me about Gene Shepherd, and I never heard Gene Shepherd. Because, I have heard him. You've all heard him. He's the narrator on a Christmas Story. And he's also the person who wrote it. But Shep used to go on the air every night and tell stories. And kids all over New York used to listen under their covers. Because their parents wanted them to go to bed early. And what? What were you going to say, Jeff?
I did all the time.
Yeah.
And he told me
every night.
But I didn't grow up in New York, so I wasn't part of the legend. But I knew Shep because I hung out with Earl Dowd, and Shep would come up to Earl's house for dinner, and we became friends there. And in case people don't know who we're talking about, this, of course, I said A Christmas Carol, so you know that voice. But he told these stories about growing up and what it was like to grow up, and the story's very much like A Christmas Story, except he did this every night. And he was people loved him, just found him brilliant. But because I never grew up in New York, I didn't grow up in New York, was not privileged to that. And the only thing I can say is I knew Gene, I knew Shep, as we called him, quite well. And but I somehow I didn't realize the legend I was, hanging out with.
The Christmas Story. The Christmas Story? Which movie?
The movie
of Natalie Wood. That one.
No,
Which
no,
one?
The Christmas Story with the kid and the Daisy rifle. And,
right. That one. Yeah. Okay. That
shoot
was,
your eye out.
That was like 1970 something, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You shoot your eye out with that kid.
Yeah. Remember it well.
Well, he also did He did on Saturday night. He did a show in the Village, and I used to go and see it quite often. I can't remember which store it was, but he was a great performer. He really was.
Yeah.
Now, Zachary was another, radio personality that told stories, and did he?
No,
correct me.
Zachary never told stories.
Sure.
No.
Now, I think I could be wrong about this.
You're wrong about
But did
Zach.
he do the Monster Mash? Who did the Monster Mash?
Well, that was Bobby Pickett.
Oh.
I think he did a version of it.
Does he have a VHS video recorder behind him?
No, that's
no.
a printer.
It's a photo printer, an Epson 3800.
But no, Zachary never told stories. Zachary hosted horror films.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he did radio stuff too.
No,
I remember him coming to
he
WBCR, Brooklyn College Radio.
He was a disc jockey.
Yeah,
on radio, and I became very.
Well, he didn't tell stories like Shepard did, but
no,
he
didn't really tell stories. That was not what he was known for, But Zach and I used to hang out all the time. I remember once we were went out to the beach, out to this beach out in Long Island to go get some seaside food, and we're sitting in this little shack of a restaurant, and a bunch of girls are staring at us. And he looks over at me in that Zach voice and goes, I think they just saw a horror host or a disc jockey. I loved him.
Yeah.
I loved him. He was a wonderful man.
Yeah, I think somebody stole his 8-track tape player when he came to visit Brooklyn College Radio, WBCR.
Yeah.
His tape deck got stolen.
Yeah, but I think he lived to be almost 100, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Yeah.
A Cecil.
Huh?
A Cecil. That's what I call 100.
A Cecil?
A Cecil. Century note. Cecil.
A Cecil.
Oh.
A C note. Yeah.
Here comes John Rockwell. Let's see here. Hello, John. Let's say a big hello to John.
There he is.
Hello there, John. How are you?
Hello.
I'm doing. I just got in from the last hurrah of a great old beer bar in Midtown. They just lost their lease because the landlord, and you know this, Alex, landlords here, especially if you're a business, when your lease is up, they want to raise you 3,000%. That's what they did. It's like,
but you know what they do? This is what is really the crime. There was a restaurant down in Soho that we used to like going to all the time. And so we went down one Sunday to go there. Was open for about
forever, right?
35 years or something like that. And we went down there, and it's closed. Just closed.
What?
And so, okay, so you figure they want to raise the rents. They want somebody who's going to pay a higher rent, so they, we go back 6-7 months later, it's still closed. Nobody decided to rent the place.
Some of these, they shut down don't give them a new lease, and it takes years to fill it up, and they even just let it sit.
Wouldn't they have been better? Wouldn't they have been better
waiting for a branch of CVS or Dwayne Reed to show up?
But wouldn't they have done better had they allowed people?
You would think, you would think,
to stay there and just raise their rent moderately.
And you know, the other thing,
these guys had a 10-year lease, which is one thing. In New York, you can get 10-year leases.
Yeah.
So they started in '08. Actually, they started the same. They opened up the same leak that I had my little recording studio opened up about 10 blocks away. So it's like, oh, great, a place to go after work, you know. So I hung out there. It's called Rattle and Hum, Irish style bar, you know, and they close on the 25th, but tonight was their bittersweet, you know, tonight, bring all your, you know, if you remember us, come and, you know, it was very nice. It was really, really nice. They had good beer, and I ran into a few people I hadn't seen for a while. It was lovely. As you can tell, and maybe you can't, but I was with some friends who bought me a lot of beer.
Yeah.
So I'm doing good.
What?
How you guys
a little
doing?
buzz.
He's a little buzzed. Yeah.
I am a little buzzed. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. A little bit buzzed. Not that much.
Are you Irish by any chance?
Not at all.
Not at all.
And this was an Irish pub?
He's just an alcoholic. That's
well, there you go. Exactly. I'm a beeraholic.
I have this 3 friends in Ireland. They're sitting around a pub. The first one's looking around. He goes, you know, this pub's a bit dingy. My pub's not more than 250 metres from where we sit. It's the best goddamn pub in all of Ireland. You buy a shot of Jameson's at my pub, you get your first pint of Guinness for free. Second guy goes, that's nothing. I live out Killarney. It's a ways out now. But you buy a shot of Jameson's at my pub, you get your first and your second pint of Guinness for free. Third guy's shaking his head, looking at both of them. You're a bunch of pikers. Not more than 250 metres from where we sit is the best goddamn pub in all of Ireland. You buy a shot of Jameson's at my pub, you get your first, your second, your third, your fourth, and your fifth pint of Guinness for free, and you get laid as well. Really? And this has happened to you? No, but it's happened to my sister twice.
Heard that joke last night too.
Yeah.
Is it true you only know 3 jokes?
No,
and
I
that
know
was
a bunch of jokes.
it? But
oh no, lovely.
Yeah. So
so no, I just I sort of came in at the end of this, but it was interesting what you guys been going on about.
Yeah.
And not the usual stuff, which is sort of fun.
Yeah.
Little.
It's
feel very
Johnson.
cool.
It's a no Trump zone tonight.
Okay, very good. Well, I won't do my make America rake again thing.
Yeah.
Well, I won't do that one. Go on my Facebook page. You can see that.
I have. You know what I did the other day? I was watching BBC News.
Yeah.
Oh,
how do you
man.
spell that?
I felt so clean watching it because it wasn't like every other story was about Trump. It was about everything, about the world around us and stories that I didn't know were happening and
the actual world.
Right. The whole Brexit thing that's going on now in England. And,
oh, God.
And what's happening with May? They say that she may lose her position, I guess.
Well, it's come down to that. It come down to, that she's now getting to the point where they got to, there's some serious stuff that has to be dealt with.
What the story is, in case people don't know, because you play hell finding the story on American television.
True.
But what happened is basically, I'm trying to wrap my head around it too, is that because of Brexit, which is Britain leaving the European Union, they came out with this whole plan of how it's going to go. And nobody likes it. Nobody likes it.
There is no easy way to deal with it.
Especially the Europeans.
Yeah,
right. Europeans aren't happy either.
The guys are so stupid, basically. They're saying, why do you want to even deal with this? But they do.
Yeah.
The guy that engineered the Brexit, who was part of her cabinet, I believe.
Quit. Yeah.
He quit, but he's coming around again, and they're saying that he may end up with a PM job.
Oh, shit.
Well, it could be, but,
somebody can maybe make it work, or at least somebody better make it work.
Yeah, but, I mean, he quit. He just, that was it, So, I mean, so it's stories like that, and then, there'll be some story about something is happening in Pakistan or whatever, and I'm going, whew. And Marjorie and I were both lying there, this was last Friday, watching it. Watched it for an hour, and we went, boy, what a relief! Yeah. What a relief! You know,
actual news. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, where you don't have Trump monopolizing the news. And, you know, and so we weren't getting irritated because to begin with, a lot of these things didn't really affect us, so we didn't care.
That too, yeah.
Somebody else's misery.
Yeah. But
Exactly.
I mean, but there are things going, you know, at night I watch the news like with Lessard Holt, America's most trusted news anchor. And at least the last 10 minutes are nothing but fluff stories, you know?
Yeah.
The kid who got a birthday cake because he's dying of cancer or something like that. You know,
right,
I mean,
they're really into that on NBC. Yeah,
puppies up a tree or whatever. This is the last 10 minutes of the news, and I'm sitting there going, "Isn't there something happening in the world that's more important than this puppy up a tree story?"
Yeah.
You know,
probably not.
And apparently, I guess there isn't. You know, and
not on NBC anyway.
But when you've got 20 minutes to do the news, which is essentially what you have after commercials, don't you think you can avoid that story about the puppy? Yeah. Don't you think you could give us one more story about something that maybe is going to affect our lives?
Cut up.
It's content that doesn't cost.
I mean, for instance,
let Entertainment Tonight do
another story they were covering. That they really, there's Patrick.
Hey, these are very familiar faces. Hi, Patrick.
Yeah.
Do you remember me, Buddy Love?
Yeah.
Please.
Buddy Love here. But anyway, the problem is that you don't. For instance, they're having a big meeting in where is it? Burma, I think. Where, you know, it's all about Asian trade and so on and so forth. It's going on with China. It's a very important meeting. Do we see any real news about it here? No.
I haven't heard about it.
No. You know, Pence was over there doing his part in trying to, you know, bespeak America's case. And
he did stare down Putin. There was some article I saw where Pence gave him a dirty look.
Oh, that's so that really is brave. That's really brave. Good for him. God.
Hey, if you don't stare him down or punch him, then he's no good. If you punch him, he's no good.
How can you? And I don't want to get too political tonight, but how do you stare down somebody that your boss would rim? Okay, so you know, I mean. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, so I'll tell you what I did. Oh, here comes Ray Renati. Now we're getting
more people in here.
Now we're starting to fill up. Now it's becoming a Happy Fizzies party. Okay. Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that for a long time.
Hey, Ray, how are you?
It's a Happy Fizzies party.
Good. How about you?
Yeah.
Is your mic on?
Yeah.
It's just low.
Yeah, his camera's a little bright too, but don't.
Yeah, I'm gonna fix it all.
Don't worry about that. Anyway,
mine's not so bright.
So I had a cheap thrill this weekend, and my girlfriend tells me, "Shut up already about it." All right. What happened was I didn't realize this, a printer, and it was starting to kind of the printing was getting fuzzy. Okay. So I figure, maybe it's time for a new printer. And I suddenly realized I hadn't bought a new printer in like 8 years. I think we bought this at the time I moved into this apartment. So I go.
Was this laser, or did you use a stone and chisel?
So it's an inkjet. It's an inkjet.
Oh, okay.
So I went to Costco. And I looked around and I said, "Let me see I don't want a laser because those things changing the ink is too expensive."
Not really. You know, you get 300 pages out of some of these inkjet things.
Yeah, but not if you're paying $36 for all the ink instead of the 80 or 90 they'd like you to spend on it because you get the off-brand and it's just as good. Anyway. So I looked at the inkjet and this one's a little pricey, but I'll buy it anyway compared to the rest, right? $109. It turned out I haven't bought a printer in 8 years because what this does was so simple compared to the old one and just setup. I mean, I plugged everything in, and it goes onto the web and upgrades the operating system in the machine, and it does this and it does that, and it's got a fax built into it, and it's got a feeder for it if you want to scan, and you can scan 10 pages at a time. I mean, $109.
Did you fall for the discounted ink delivery on a regular basis?
Contract? No, I didn't do that. No. Oh, no. No. Not at HP's prices. Yeah, for $9 a month, I can get 300 pages or something like that. Or,
right.
You know, and they will judge, because it will send them a message when I'm running out of ink, and then they will send me the new ink, of course, at their HP prices.
Yeah.
Right.
But I can go get these refurbs and whatever for ink, and they do the job. I'm not printing photographs here. I don't give a shit. I just want to print out, you know, little items, little news items.
Buddy, when you asked me about that printer behind me,
Yes.
when I changed all the ink cartridges, there's 9 of them, and it was $525 to change the ink cartridges. The printer new is $1,300, but it was $525 to change 9 ink cartridges.
Wow.
And
how long do they last?
A year and a half, 2 years. You know, it depends on how many photos you print.
By the way, there's Bree calling us from Dubai. Hello.
Dubai.
Yeah, he's in
There he
Dubai.
is.
My kind of town.
Yeah.
Dubai is.
Yeah. But anyway, so
Real
see how
international
nice it
time
prints
here.
now? You see that?
Very nice.
So I printed up a whole bunch of items I probably won't even read tonight. So, you know. But it, I was so I was so amazed by this printer and the stuff it does and how easy it is to set up and use and all of that. That compared to the old one, which was a clunker, and cost me more, I think.
Things have come down in price.
Well, the reason these printers are so cheap is they want to sell you the ink.
The ink is where they make
You know,
money.
it's the razor versus the razor blade routine. You know, we'll sell you the. Yeah. How much your razor blades costing now?
Oh,
a lot of
Gillette
money.
with a 5 packs, $30.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they've got, each blade has 5 blades in it.
Right.
It used to be you had one blade,
Well,
I can
and
use one
it
of
had
those
2
blades
sides,
for
and you
home
cut
Do
yourself.
you ever remember on Saturday Night Live years ago they did a phony ad when they came out with the Track 2? You remember the 2 blades?
Yeah.
2 blades, Track 2.
Buddy Love shirt. Look at this signed.
Look.
Mr. Love himself.
All right, that is a relic there.
I know. I got this like 25 years ago, I think.
Yeah, that's when we came, right after we came from back from New York.
You're talking to the mic.
When the book came out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh my God, look at that.
Yeah.
Well, are you going to come to our Christmas show? Where do you still live back in?
I live near San Francisco.
Okay, on the 23rd of December at the chapel.
Okay.
We do our annual Christmas show with the trio and the full big band.
At the chapel? In
the chapel on Valencia Street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The 23rd?
Okay. This is our 27th annual Christmas show, December 23rd.
Yeah.
The night before Christmas. I'm plugging my show.
Bree won't be able to get there because he's in Dubai.
I auditioned for some car commercial with you like 20 years ago. It was like you and me and one other guy.
Yeah, we were.
Well, who got the job?
I don't know. None of us, I don't think.
I don't think I got it.
Anyway, so, Bree, are you getting ready for Thanksgiving in Dubai, or do they just bypass Thanksgiving?
No,
got a
no, we
turkey?
have it. Many places. I don't do my own. It's so easy just to have it delivered or pick it up. There's so many places that do it.
Yeah.
So you just order it for $5. You get a big tray of stuff you could never finish.
Yeah.
Now, what does Thanksgiving mean to the people in Dubai? Or is this for expats?
Turkey.
It's got to be expats.
Thanksgiving is, I think one of the best holidays that America has sort of given to the world, if you will. Everyone, everywhere can really partake in
because
this holiday.
It's a non-secular holiday, and it has a universal meaning.
See the difference between Bree and me? He likes Thanksgiving. I like Halloween. You know,
that's only because it's the only time when you can. Because Phil, it's the only time. It's the only time. It's the only time of the year when you can acceptably dress up as a ballerina. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Or go out and drag.
Yeah. So anyway, I got this new printer and I'm thrilled with it. And my wife says, "Will you shut up about the fucking printer? Huh? Just an HP Office Pro, it's called."
Yeah,
and
I got this one Epson where they have ink tanks, and they say that I wouldn't have to change it in 10 years. Like you get 10,000 pages, and it's like an ink tank.
Whoa!
Have you seen this?
No.
Because all the you're right. All the ones they want you to buy the ink. So like you're constantly buying ink.
Yeah, but this ink
my
tank...
old one, I couldn't get the ink here. It's only in Southeast Asia. So I bought this one that has these ink tanks. And I've had it for a year now, and I've never had to change it.
Ink what?
Tanks.
You're welcome.
Very good.
Yeah, but
I loved your bear joke earlier, Alex. That was great.
Yeah, that's one of our
I
favorite jokes. Wow, here comes
Thanksgiving,
Kevin.
Just got a Thanksgiving email.
Wow.
Whoa.
We're one short of a full house here. One short of a full house. Happy Thanksgiving. There is.
Hi, Kevin.
Bree is. Oh, is that a menu for Thanksgiving, Bree?
No, they're just. This is HR, and they're saying that they'll have it for us on Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Oh, human resource.
Now, do they supply you with a turkey, or do you just?
Yes, of course.
Really?
Of course.
Carving starts on the 22nd, and when does it finish?
So in other words, you go over there to eat. You don't do your own turkey. I see.
Sure, if you want to eat in the cafeteria.
But if you want to make your own turkey, is it easy to find a turkey to buy this time of year in Dubai?
Alex, I told you get anything you want here. In any which way. It's more stuff here at different times than New York City.
It's a Muslim country. I guarantee you can't find a hooker.
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess I'm heading for Dubai.
Hey, Bree, do you ever go to Kuwait? Do you ever go to Kuwait?
No.
Oh, okay. Just wondering.
What's there?
Emirates.
Yeah, what is in Kuwait?
Just wondering. I have no people there.
Well, you come to this. If you come to the Gulf, you come to Dubai. That's pretty much it. If you really want to,
wait, hold on a second. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. We have now a full house. Buddy's going to leave because you got to hit the sack.
Yeah,
huh?
I'm exhausted.
Well, I'll see you tomorrow morning. I have to do a recording at 12:15, but I'll see you before you go.
Oh no, absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, the fabulous Buddy Love.
Great to see you guys.
Hey,
and hope to see my San Francisco buddies on.
So I was going to ask, who went to Rattle and Hum
at the chapel on Valencia Street?
Chapel.
Do you know why they call it that?
23rd.
Well, it's from the U2 song, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, have a good sleep.
I will.
Thanks. Okay. Take care, buddy.
Yep.
Let me see here. Oops.
Fabulous.
I got to move this chair back.
I have
the guys who started Rattle and Hum are very Irish, just so you know. Yeah, and they actually still have another. They have two bars now, but that was the original, and people were really pretty upset when I was there because, they were doing fine, but
that's happening. That's happening.
A 10-year lease said we're not going to renew it unless you pay shitloads more.
Right.
The movie theater, the movie theater we go to, which I always call the comfy chair theater, right next door to it was one of the last remaining delis in New York City, because there were only like about maybe 2 or 3 delis left. There's Katz's, there's one other, and I can't remember. Oh, and the
real Jewish delis,
and the Second Avenue Deli, which isn't on Second Avenue anymore.
Right, not anymore. Yeah.
And otherwise, there was this other one, and we said, well, let's go get ourselves a sandwich before we go home, and it's closed. It's
gone.
It's gone. It's been there for years. Gone.
Well,
finished.
I can tell you that I had a lot of friends in Singapore who would be staying in a place for a year, and then they would want to raise the rent. And it was always based on, I mean, even here in Dubai, the hotel rates can change from week to week, depending on where they're located and you know how things are going. So
demand
rents, same thing in Singapore. And I never understood that. Like they wanted to raise their rent, so they had to move out, and there were like 8 of them living in this 3-bedroom place. And if I remember correctly, the new people couldn't move in, or they didn't get somebody until a month after. So for 1 month, they didn't get rent at all. So if you added up the amount that they were asking for and then the month that they didn't get, it would have been the same. So they went through all this, getting all these people out, moving new people in, and they didn't make any more money. It seemed ridiculous.
That's pretty standard. Probably got a higher rent. I remember about 2 months ago, I took a class in Monterey, and it seemed I went to get a hotel room because you drive down, you're in a class all day. So I tried to get a motel room, but it seems as though that weekend there was some sort of Porsche event, and the rooms were all booked up, and the only rooms you could get was a $90 room that was $400. So I called a few hotels and I said, look, I don't want to buy the hotel. I just want to stay there one night. And but depending on what's going on and what the demand for rooms are, will raise the price for those rooms.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because at the Monterey something hotel that I like to stay at, it's downtown. It's normally $120 a night, and it's very nice old hotel, and Monterey Plaza. And then it was if it wasn't sold out, it was $400 a room. And it's not going to happen. So I drove down. I came back.
Yeah.
And you can be a famous person and still have that problem. We had a down the street from me is Wahlburgers, as in Mark Wahlberg and all those things. Mm-hmm. It was the Upper East Side Wahlburgers until a week and a half ago. It's gone. They were only there for about a year, less than a year and a half. I thought they were doing good.
Restaurants
all of a sudden, poof, they were gone. Yeah.
Restaurants have the highest failure rate of any business.
Yeah.
Even higher than floor covering.
Years ago, there was somebody I knew, this was when I was in San Francisco, who wanted me to invest in a restaurant. And that sounded like a good idea. Well, my business manager's father used to run things like the Upstairs at the Downstairs, which was a nightclub here in New York, and he used to run a lot of things called the Gypsy Tea Rooms or something around the area. And my business manager said to me, you want to buy into a restaurant? Go right ahead. Find yourself another business manager. He said, it is the worst idea you could come up with. He said, everybody thinks it's a wonderful idea. I'm going to have my own restaurant that I own, that I can then take my friends to and say, oh, come on to my restaurant. And restaurants are the worst investment you can possibly make because their chance of failure is incredible.
And if the manager doesn't steal you blind.
So what are you doing for Thanksgiving, Patrick?
I'm going to be doing absolutely nothing because I cannot drive because of my foot. So
I didn't think you used your feet to drive.
What? Yeah, but to transfer in and out of my car, the other night, the pressure on the foot is too much, so they won't let me drive. So I'll be watching football, and that'll be it. My folks are going to come over Friday then with leftovers, and then I'll have my Thanksgiving feast Friday. To me, it doesn't really matter what day. They were going to skip the family deal and come over by me on Thursday, and we were going to order Chinese. And I said, why? Just stay with the family. I don't give a shit about the day. Come over on Friday, and, we can spend some time together and bullshit. So,
bring the extra turkey. What the heck?
That's going to happen, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Did you see?
Yeah. Yes.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, did you see her photo that she posted on Instagram?
No.
She has a picture where she's wearing like Victoria's Secret, and she said she was going to post this up all around her house on Thanksgiving so she would remember not to eat too much. And she caught a lot of flack about this.
Yeah. Oh, really? Everybody gets flack about anything they do. Hello, Tim. What are you doing for Thanksgiving, Tim? Tim?
We're just having a small turkey dinner this year.
Small turkey dinner.
With family at the house.
There's no such thing as a small turkey. You know.
Not anymore.
Well, we're used to getting the biggest. We usually buy the biggest one they have, but this year we're going to get the medium-sized one.
Well, the problem is here's the problem. We invited Jack Garfine and Natalia over to have Thanksgiving with us, right? So Marge is going to make this big turkey, but Natalia is a vegan.
Whoop.
Whoop.
Tofurkey.
Yeah.
Tofurkey. Yeah.
A lot of yams.
What is this? I'm trying to remember now. The turkey that they made at this restaurant I was at, and I'm trying to remember what the name of it is. There's a name for it, but it's you've got a turkey, but then it's wrapped in a chicken, and it's wrapped in something.
The turducken.
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 Yeah.
John Madden's
turkey with it.
What are you showing? What are you trying to show us?
Right,
the tiny turkey trend. I see. Okay.
Something like that. Yeah.
The tiny turkey trend.
Hey, turkey trend.
And there's a tiny turkey.
Oh, aren't they cute?
Yeah, right.
No, but turducken.
Single serving.
And I had turducken.
I like tofurkey.
And turducken was pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. But it takes forever to prepare, and to cook.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
And the hardest part is getting the birds to eat each other in the right order.
That's right. That's correct, Tim. Very good, Tim. Very good.
Eat that chicken, damn it.
Yeah. But
it was free range, all right.
Yeah.
Yes. But I so we're gonna do and I think Jack's gonna have some turkey, but he's old, so he doesn't eat a lot, right? So we're gonna be left with a lot of fucking turkey, and
I'll be happy to come over on the weekend and eat some of it.
Well, if you want to,
Well, I've been wanting to get over there at some point.
Do you have anywhere to go on Thanksgiving?
Not particularly. It's going to be like 27 degrees out. I'm not going
okay. Yeah, it's supposed to be very cold.
By Saturday it'll be in the 40s again, but
yeah.
27 no. I'm not I'm watching the parade on the TV like normal. I've never gone to the parade.
What is that?
40 years in the city, I've never gone to the Thanksgiving parade. I always wanted to, but it was either too cold or...
What is that you're trying to show us, Ray?
Oh my God!
That's Sarah Palin talking about Thanksgiving while the guy is slaughtering.
Oh, that's a great shot. Yeah,
that's an old.
I know. I just love it.
Yeah, but it's that along with Trump
behind me, Sarah.
That along with Trump and the toilet paper on his foot never get old. They never get old. And so let's see. And Jeff, of course, I'm sure you're having a turkey at your place, right?
Well, I am, and I'm cooking it too, and that's. I was going to ask: is there any of you guys cooking, or am I the only chef?
Marjorie is cooking the turkey. I can cook a turkey. I can actually do a very good turkey, but she won't let me touch it.
Yeah.
She. Oh, you don't know how to make turkey. Making turkey is I've told people this, and I used to do this on the show. I said, I can teach you how to make a turkey just by telling it to you here on the air. Turkey is one of the easiest things to make, and the
especially
most fun.
If they have that pop-up thing.
Yeah, if you get the pop-up thing, you know when it's done,
thing I pull out,
and then you can just keep basting it. It's fun to keep basting it, and what I like to do is I used to like to throw some wine in there, some red wine, and baste the turkey with the red wine. And the gravy came out great,
Mine never hits an oven.
Yours never. What you do? What do you dump it in the hot boiling?
No, I do mine on an infrared cooker.
Oh, really? How's that go for you?
Right? Cooks in 2.5 hours.
Really?
Don't they call that a microwave?
I don't know what we're talking about this tonight for, because we still got one more show to do this week, and I've wasted my turkey show. Yes, John.
Oh, well. Got one more day for that, right?
Oh, infrared thing. Isn't that, they sell those on Popeil Pocket Fisherman commercials.
What's your schedule going to be like, Alex?
Oh.
What'd you say?
Do the jerky that way.
What'd you say?
You can
Thursday night.
Yeah, we're taking the network down pretty much. I mean, we'll be running some Thanksgiving stuff, but
can you rip off? Can you rip off that Channel 20 thing where they got the flame of the fire going and you just put it on YouTube?
The Yule log.
The Yule log. Yeah, I can do that.
They got that here too.
Yeah, I can do
Just
that.
have a turkey sitting there roasting on the screen.
You know, I might do that. I might actually do that. I might.
Yeah, Gabbard used to do that on Channel 20.
Oh, that was him doing that?
Yeah.
That's on Christmas Eve. You don't do that on Thanksgiving.
What's the difference?
That's more
Christmas started 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. Yeah. Unfortunately, all the ads are Christmas ads.
Just point the camera towards your oven and put it on the turkey and just leave it there.
Yeah, I mean, I could do something like that.
I'm surprised nobody's done that on YouTube yet. You gotta look around. Somebody must have at this point.
Hey, if you want to slaughter your own turkey,
5 hours.
you can get. I just looked it up. One of those turkey slaughtering cones on Amazon for $26.98.
I'll get 2. They're small.
I don't know if I want to slaughter
Alex. Yeah. Do you remember in the old Midnight Blue days?
Sale. Yes.
In the old Midnight Blue days, do you remember when we went down to the live poultry place?
That's correct.
To do a recording with a couple of people that were doing this sort of fantasy thing about being a chicken or something like that. It was something weird. But I was the guy back in the back with the monitoring the sound. I was in the room where they were slaughtering chickens, and I'd be sitting there, and the guy would walk in with a chicken, stick its head down, and just go, like two or three of those things. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, but they would pluck them for you and give them to you warm. You take them home,
and none of you guys.
Then they threw them into the plucker. You know, the little
with this kind of conversation, none of you guys like Republicans.
Yeah, I did not know.
That was one of my favorite shoots I've ever done.
Oh, it was amazing
because we had all these chickens. We had all these chickens in cages. Yeah. And it just allowed me to really do a great job of photography and everything in that.
It was a great thing. I wish I had that.
Yeah.
I don't have that on tape anywhere. I wish I did.
Yeah.
I wish it really was
pretty cool. Foster Farms chicken, and they just hung them on a thing, and they just rolled on down the road.
I don't have any of that stuff.
Hundreds of chickens hanging upside down.
I don't have that stuff anymore. Some other guy does have it though. Has all the master tapes. You know what do we call them?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I have a couple, but they're not in very good shape. I'm still trying to get myself over to one of these video places. I have some 3/4 inch stuff, mostly the stuff I worked on, but it includes some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Just that it didn't. I had a friend of mine try to make VHS copies, and every edit just scroll. I mean, it was the quality was terrible.
I know.
You need to have now. You have digital. They could probably correct it digitally.
Well, part of the problem was that those tapes. Those were the 3/4 inch, and then there was also the 1/2 inch tape that we used for black and white that were reel to reel. Those things were very hard to get to run because they depended on the tape being lubricated because it went around what we called a helical scan drum.
Right, which would whip around real quickly.
And with age, those things lose their lubrication, and so you put them on, and they start running, and then they just stop and get stuck on the drum.
That happens to a lot of women.
Yeah.
Right.
So just like with women, you've got to have somebody, and you can only make
that lube available.
No, but you can only make one pass. You've got to get the recording on the first pass, but you keep feeding this lubrication to the tape as it goes through, and you maybe have yourself a copy. But Most of that stuff is lost to the ages because of that.
Well, that reminds me about that. I really want to. I have like 3 or 4 of those old tapes. I'm looking at them now, actually.
Yeah.
And I just need to go and see. I called up one of these places down in Midtown. They said, "We'll bring it in. We deal with 3/4 inch." I just haven't. It's just like, really.
Well, if any of that stuff is my work on it, I'll help. I'll help. I'll help.
He lugged around.
I'll help pay for it. I'll help pay for it
forever,
if any of my stuff's on there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, look. I mean, it's. I mean, mostly I kept stuff that I thought was interesting or stuff that I edited or I was on. Remember, I was along with you. We were. I did book reviews and things. I have some of those.
Yeah.
I have a little demo, a small tape of like 3 or 4 things that I worked on.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to become a video editor, but never went there.
Well, I gotta look at all the stuff we got out of Ann's because I think she had some.
We'll get
tips.
into that. We'll get
anyway,
into that.
Somewhere along the line, I'll go onto the internet and
things get boring here sometime. I'll put it on. We can listen. We can watch it.
Well, it's getting boring right now talking about our past. But anyway, I'll forgive you because you've had a couple of beers.
I sure have. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they weren't lightweight beers either.
Really?
These are 8-9% Imperial Stout beers.
Do you
know?
By the way, do you know who was here today with Buddy? He had him come over. Paul Schaefer.
Oh, you're kidding!
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I love to be here.
Yeah, from the what's the band? He was the was he
Letterman, right?
He was the band
Johnny
leader.
Carson's band.
No, yep. Oh,
Letterman.
Letterman.
Oh, Letterman. Carson.
He was also in a bunch of
They all look
movies
alike.
in the 60s and 70s.
He
He was also on Saturday Night Live when it started with the band.
Yeah.
He was original. Yeah.
But anyway, he was here.
Cool.
I had met him years ago.
Is he just pretty much retired, or is he doing anything? Do you know?
I don't know. He and Buddy were hanging out to reminisce about stuff, and so I went and did other stuff. So I just, I told him, he knows Shecky, so we had something common to talk about.
I was going to say, with Letterman.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, listen, I just looked, and the clock is, I got
we're running out.
40 seconds before the music.
So, Alex, your friend Shecky is the same Shecky that Letterman used to talk about?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they found the name Shecky funny. His name wasn't Shecky, actually. He never used it. His name's Rick Sheckman, and he never used the name Shecky till he got to the Letterman show, and I can't remember who it was started calling him Shecky. And so he became Shecky.
Okay.
I still call him Rick, but, everybody else calls
you've known him longer.
Much longer. I knew him before the Letterman show. And
forever,
And he was with it after the first year of that show's existence.
Yeah, well, our friend Jim was like, that's how I met him a couple times. It was our friend used to work for you, Jim, knew Sheckman from, so, we went to, we'd hang out at a few bars occasionally, but it's been 20 years.
Well, listen, we got to get together, John. Really.
We do. We will work that up.
We'll wait for the snow to go away. Yes. Anyway, Phil, thank you so much for being with us tonight. We didn't talk once really about Trump, just peripherally, and that's
no
wonderful.
Trump zone.
Yeah. And Jeff, great talking to you and having you on the program as always. Patrick, maybe good talking to you. And Bree, if I don't see you before Thanksgiving, have a nice Thanksgiving. Bree?
Have a tiny turkey.
Bree's doing something.
He's frozen here.
Is he frozen or is he doing something else? I don't know. Anyway,
he's frozen.
Tim, thank you.
Thank you.
Tim, he didn't say much tonight. Brian, thank you. Thank you to John Rockwell, to Ray Renati, to Kevin. Hope maybe you'll all come back and join me tomorrow night for our big Thanksgiving show, whatever that will be.
It's hard to be frozen in Dubai. Isn't it really hot there?
Yeah, right. Anyway, everybody, why don't you do something and give everybody a big wave goodbye. There we go. There they go. That's our citizens panel for tonight. Let me hang up on each and every one of them unceremoniously because we have to, relinquish the Skype lines for the next program, which is, of course, Jack Bishop and a little program that he likes to call the Intersection. That's next. That will be followed at, let's see here, what is it, 1 o'clock in the morning by Connections tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern Time. It's our sports show with the franchise MC called The Arena. At 9:30, it's Damian Chaplin and The Exchange. And then tomorrow night at 10. We'll be right back here. Same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? All right. Bye-bye, everybody.